Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Virtual Concert Hall Live programs. Thank you for joining us today. Our channel is dedicated to bringing live performances from international artists directly to the audiences around the globe. I'm Ouspenskaya, I'm a pianist, and I'll be hosting this program for you today. Today we are presenting the second and third sessions of the auditions for the opportunity to perform at the Weill Recital Hall of the Carnegie Hall. The Gala concert is scheduled for November 21st in New York City. The Carnegie Hall auditions are organized by Sound Espressivo, virtual concert halls, and progressive musicians. Auditionees from many countries applied to compete for this opportunity. They're seeking guidance and support from the judges today through their comments. You will hear the comments from our judges after each performer. So a little bit about the presenters. Sound Espressivo Global Competition is an online live-streamed competition. It combines the competitive environment with performance experience on a variety of stages. Virtual stage is where musicians compete and then they get opportunities to perform in actual physical locations of concert halls. Progressive Musicians is an organizer of many competitions in many different formats, masterclasses, and concerts on many prestigious venues, including the Carnegie Hall. A virtual concert hall is an internet TV broadcaster providing artists with a virtual stage, and ability to reach audiences beyond the walls of conventional concert halls. So the goal of these auditions is to encourage, to nurture, and to reward musicians who are proactive about sharing their art and developing their careers. Sound Espressivo and progressive musicians together are providing opportunities for musicians to discover their unique voice, their unique artistry, to take initiative, to present themselves on their own terms, and carve out their own career paths. Auditions are open for musicians to apply and perform live at the Carnegie Hall Weill Recital Hall in the Gala. Musicians compete with their chosen repertoire, and today in this session you will hear artists who applied to perform with New York Chamber Players Orchestra. They will be presenting concertos and other solo pieces in this first round of auditions, and some of them will be selected and called back to audition with their concertos, which they intend to present at the Carnegie Hall. We have one more announcement to make, and I'm very excited to introduce to you iClassical Academy, one of our very long and dear partners who generously provided an award for participants of the Carnegie Hall auditions. It's the iClassical Academy Outstanding Artist Award. So, and the iClassical Academy Recognition Award. The details of this award are forthcoming, but I just wanted to mention that iClassical Academy is a company based in Europe, and they provide comprehensive curriculum and many video courses from most prominent musicians of around the world, which can be delivered to musicians in various packages. These are recorded courses, master classes, and some very focused topics and technique on stage presence, on developing the education and careers. So thank you very much to our dear partners, our Classical Academy, for providing this generous award to participants of the auditions. And
Progressive Musicians and Sound Espressivo is hosting live auditions for our Laureate Gala recital at Carnegie Hall this fall. Don't miss your opportunity to receive a professional video recording of your live performance on this world-renowned stage.
As you can see, the Gala is designed to showcase variety of styles, solo performances, chamber group performances, and we are really grateful to the New York Chamber Players Orchestra, which is joining us for this gala and will be performing concertos with the soloists, winners of these auditions. Now let's take a quick look ahead at this weekend. We had already one session on Friday, which you can now watch in the replays on various channels, and this session you're joining now is dedicated to concertos. These are auditionees who actually applied to perform with the New York Chamber Players Orchestra. And we have one more session this evening starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which will present again more soloists, vocalists and instrumentalists, small ensembles and large ensembles. I'm very much looking forward to all those sessions, and with this I would like to introduce our judges for this session and welcome on stage James Welch from Fredonia, New York State. You're in Fredonia or Buffalo right now? Hello, James.
Hello, I'm in Buffalo.
You keep switching between the two places.
Yeah, no, Fredonia's more of a thing of the past for me now, but Buffalo it is.
Okay, well, welcome to our second session, and it's a great pleasure to have you back. James is a performer, a pianist, winner of many international competitions. You're an educator with a large following of former and current students. You're also a conductor, you're a presenter, entrepreneur, and you're directing operas and Broadway shows. You're a very versatile musician, and you're very dear partner of Virtual Concert Halls and Sound Espressivo. Thank you for working with us and for being today to judge.
It's great to be here, and it's great to be a big part of this, partnered up with you. Thank you.
Okay, and now I would like to welcome on our virtual stage Maestro Giacomo Franci. He is a conductor. Welcome, Giacomo. Great pleasure to see you joining us again. You're conductor and music director of New York Chamber Players Orchestra, the wonderful ensemble which is going to be presented on the Carnegie Hall Gala on November 21st. So you're also a pianist. You recorded numerous albums with complete Stravinsky piano work and Copland piano works, and you're a frequent musician featured on Phone Classics. You're an educator and supporter, great supporter of young musicians, and we're really, really honored to have you on our program and judging for us today. Thank you.
I'm very thankful and honored as well.
Thank you. So we are ready for our auditionees, and just a quick overview of what we're going to see We'll start with age group from 5 to 7. There are people who are ready at that age to perform with the orchestra. And then we'll go to the age group 8 to 10, 11 to 14, 15 to 18. And I will announce the groups so that our viewers can understand which age group we're viewing. And I also want to thank very much our audience members and encourage you all to please comment, send us your comments, send us your suggestions, your impressions. This is very important for musicians to feel your feedback, to feel your support, to feel this being in the moment. All of this is happening live in front of your eyes, and we really appreciate you joining us today. We'll go on to our first contestant in the age group 5 to 7. Welcome on virtual stage, Lutao. Oh wow, 5-7. I'm speechless. To our judges for your comments.
Oh, I guess I'll go first. Bravo. It's a lot of music to have all memorized and ready to go, and you've learned it very well, and you presented it well. The biggest thing that I would work on with just to make it sparkle even more is having a more dynamic range. You know, if it says piano, play softly. If it says forte, play bigger. You know, and there's a lot of fun that you can have with these pieces, with just different levels of dynamics. You know, particularly this last piece, which is fun. You know, Polonaise. You know, you could play around with that a whole bunch, and I think that you'll have a lot of fun with that. You should work with your teacher on that and see what you can come up with. I look forward to hearing you in the second tier.
That was impressive. Great control of the sound. It was like, it sounded like a keyboard. Didn't sound like a piano anymore. Like the sound was all similar. On the other end, like James was saying, is like start playing with different color. Try to risk a little bit more and doing more contrast. Maybe a little faster. Give it more life. But you are so young. I mean, you have a great talent. You can work a lot on that.
Okay, well, thank you so much, our judges, and thank you, Lutao, for applying. This is a very polished, wonderful performance for this young age. We'll be moving on to our next performer. I'm reminding our audience these are auditionees for an opportunity to perform a concerto, a soloist with New York Chamber Players Orchestra, and we have the music director and conductor of the orchestra, Maestro Giacomo Franci, helping us with judging and giving comments, as well as director of progressive musicians, pianist and conductor James Welch. So we're moving on to present Amelia is Zhu, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, and please, my apologies if not, in the age group 8 to 10. Take the virtual stage, it's yours. Oh, wow. Chopin Nocturne at this young age. Congratulations to you and your teacher. That's phenomenal. To the judges now.
Bravo. So yes, I mean, I can't remember. I was not in the age group of 8 to 10 when I played my first Chopin Nocturne. I think I was a little bit older. I probably 13, and it was the E flat Nocturne. I call it the M&M's commercial Nocturne because it was there. But yeah, but so I mean, bravo to you for learning that and memorizing it, and the Telemann as well. I thought you captured the spirit of the Telemann quite well, and the Chopin was very heartful and meaningful. There's a couple of things, particularly with the Chopin, but also with the Telemann. I would take out your metronome and go and first start with a slow tempo and make sure that you're getting your fingers to the bottom of every key and without pedal. Just to clean it up a little bit, because there are some uneven finger passages, and I think that the more that you can get to the bottom of the keys, the more even you will play on all of the passages in both pieces. The Chopin particularly, for my taste, I like it to go a little bit faster, particularly at the beginning. A lot of people play that opening slow, but it's actually in there's 4 beats in the measure, and everyone makes it sound like there's 8. But dum dee dum dum, and then it can really wrench that way. But I think if you work with the metronome on that, you're gonna find that it's gonna sound like a different piece, and for the better. But then you can work it up from there. and take all of your liberties and all that. And I think you'll have something wonderful, and I look forward to hearing you in the second tier. Oh, and by the way, we love your crab shirt. It's wonderful.
That was lovely.
Well, we've been admiring it. Bravo.
Yeah, brava. Among the two pieces I preferred you are playing on the Chopin, the Telemann. Sorry to contradict James. usually we agree. The Telemann, I think it was there was no a clear articulation of the passages. About Chopin, I think it was more felt. You felt more. The only thing about Chopin, my point of view is. This is my point of view. I've been arguing even with professionals sometimes. The left hand, the left hand is too present. So therefore, the melody of the right hand is compressed, because by having the left hand so present, like mezzo forte, and maybe a little more than mezzo forte, then the left hand is compelled to play always stronger, and you lose all the colors that can be underneath mezzo forte. It could be a mezzo piano, a pianissimo. Now, another remark is you are playing an upright piano. When you will be playing a grand piano, you will see a difference, especially if I don't want to start an advertising of piano label here, but especially if it is a Steinway or a Yamaha grand, you will find much more colors to dynamics to work with, and you will see a big difference there. But brava, anyway. Very good.
Yeah, I just had one more thing to say. I agree with what Giacomo had said about the left hand. I have a solution or a tip that you can work with on that. With Chopin, many times the left hand is almost two different voices. There's the primary lowest notes, and then there's the moving notes that come after it. So, usually on downbeats or on 1 and 3, bum, bum, and those lowest notes are what help enhance your dynamic range. And then the middle voices can unfold in there. But when you play those middle voices, they can never be louder than the lowest notes without a little bit of unfold. So you play the first note, and then the second note has to be softer than that. It can't be louder. So some of that is in the pedaling too. But I think that it'll be much less left hand, as Giacomo was saying, and just have that 3-voice thing. I hope I'm not stepping on you there, Giacomo, on that.
No, actually, it's very interesting.
It's kind of hard to verbally explain. If I had a piano, I'd show you right now.
No, I've had the fight with a professional pianist friend of mine that actually he soloed with Leonard Bernstein when he was 10. So he's obviously extremely talented. And with the Chopin note you are talking about, it's thought that the left hand should have been equal dynamics than the right hand, and I start losing my temper there.
No, I'm with you on this. I won't say the names of the recordings that I won't listen to anymore on the live stream here, but there's quite a few of them, actually. But there's quite a few that I like, too, so, yeah. Okay.
It sounds like, Amelia, it sounds like you opened up a Pandora box. Musicians tend to belong to this school of thought, that school of thought, and the schools tend to disagree with each other in very passionate manners.
Yeah.
So,
you have 3 pianists on this broadcast here, too, so...
Yeah. when we talk about Chopin nocturnes in particular, I always say in that particular repertoire, my hero is Arthur Rubinstein. So then when I listen to him, I just say once in a while, yeah, I would have done this little different, but most of the time I just keep silent and listen because it's wonderful. For the rest, then there is, one point of view, the other point of view,
That's right. The key to that is to be very convincing, to be very convinced yourself in what you're doing, and then that communicates a very convincing message, musical message. And thank you, Amelia, for bringing up the Chopin Nocturne and sparking this interesting discussion early morning. It's very early in the United States, and both of our judges are in New York, and so this is wonderful to get this rich feedback. We'll be moving on to our next auditionee in the section for people who applied to perform with the New York Chamber Players Orchestra on the stage of the Weill Carnegie Hall on November 21st. And welcome on stage, Aria Zhao. my goodness. That was a fabulous, and it was live from the big concert hall. My goodness, that's very impressive. To the judges.
Bravo. Yeah, I did not attempt that piece till I was 17. I didn't even know of it till then, though. Maybe I would have played it earlier. But I just remember the first time I heard it, and I was just... I was like, I gotta play that piece. This is so much fun. And you obviously have a lot of fun with it. It's great. After I had learned it, I performed it a couple times, and then I went to college, and I wanted to perform it there. And my teacher at the time, he was wonderful, but he was like, oh, no. You need to do this and this and this. And he was right. There were some maintenance things that had to be done to it that made it even better. And so I actually noticed that a little bit with your performance in it, which I'm going to share with you. I'm going to pass the buck here. This piece is so much fun that it is easy to let the character of the cat and the mouse take over the actual structure of the rhythm and the pacing of the piece, which I did not realize at the time, but when I was playing it. But I would just go back with the metronome and try to stay very true to it for a little while. And you can eventually branch away from the regular beat, but it's the whole idea of this is that you have a pulse that you can come back to, and that the liberties don't become the pulse and the beat of the piece. And that just turned it to a completely different piece for me. And I know that it will for you, because you have this learned really well. This is not easy to memorize and get all those notes. I remember slapping notes all over the keys, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? But it's an Olympic event to play this piece, and you've done really well preparing it, and I look forward to hearing you in the second tier.
I'm very familiar with this piece. I've done the complete piano works by Aaron Copland. So, first of all,
that's an accomplishment on its own. That's what, 600 pages?
it's 3 CDs that I have done in a week in Italy when in late 90s. And then I obviously played in several concerts, and The Cat and the Mouse was one of the main pieces in my repertoire.
It's a great encore.
No. I inserted in programs, because then I inserted with other pieces on the side of Copland that recall more the style of the impressionistic style, like Debussy and all these more tonal pieces. But then one of those less tonal, like the most famous piano Copland piece, which is the Piano Variations. So I had also that in the repertoire. Okay, first of all, let's start talking about aria. So, Brava, I really admire your courage. You just went with those jumps like it's nobody's business. Like, say, you don't care whatever happen, you just jump. I admire that. Of course, James was right in the maybe put a little more order to that, because the spirit of the Cat and the Mouse is really coming with the more contained rhythmical structure. And yeah, I don't care about wrong notes. I play wrong notes too sometimes. The thing is that you get a lot of splits there by jumping like that. And if it is, if you get a little more than those, maybe you wouldn't like it either. So then, yeah, but I mean, for your age, I think you played greatly, and keep on going because you are into. And then the public there, you are in the concert hall, feel like, hey, this is we are watching now a Warner Bros. Cartoon here of the Cat and the Mouse. So great,
It's a Tom and
bravo.
Jerry episode.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aria, for bringing this piece, for being so passionate about it, and making so much character. And I really appreciate it, and I hope you did too, the constructive and helpful comments from the judges, because yeah, you can use those tips in your practicing and improve upon the great foundation you already created. Let's move on to our next auditionee. And we are still in the same age group, 8 to 10 age group. And welcome on virtual stage, Lucia Tang. What a lively performance. Wonderful. Thank you for bringing this concerto to us. To the judges now.
Bravo. That's a fun concerto. That's also one that I played when I was probably a little bit older than you. And it was, I got a lot of mileage out of that whole concerto. It's just a fun one. I go way back with that concerto. Bravo. So, I do remember from my own experience, the memorization issues were difficult for me as well. One wrong note or one wrong finger, and you're in a completely different key in a completely different section, and it happens just before you realize it. So, I sympathize with that little slip that you had there. What I can tell you now, for just going forward, prepping that, is I would spend a lot of time working each transition just a little bit slower. And I would start with the transition that goes into the first development and then the second development. And if you just get those down, like, for a day, like, just focus on just going from section A to section B, and then section A to section B again, when it returns in the other key. I think that'll just ingrain into you a little bit better, but it's sometimes, like, they call it hammering it into you, like, and sometimes you just need to spend a little bit of time doing that, but just go through it slowly and double check every note and every finger, and it's really just a mind game. I don't think that you're unprepared at all. It's just a lot to take in at once, and then when you've put it with the other piano and you turn on the lights and the camera, it's like all the stuff that you never practiced with, that I was like, oh no, what's going on? So it happens, but you brought great spirit to the piece, and I look forward to hearing the improvements that you make, because I'm sure it's going to be wonderful.
Yes, brava. I'm not a great fan of. I recognize that Haydn is a major genius of the history of music, but I'm not a great fan of his piano music. I don't know why. It's kind of, it's locking you into this classical form, and then or you do it or you're out. So
very high pressure. Thank you.
I'm a much better fan of him in the symphonies. He wrote many symphonies. I believe, I'm not a great musicologist, but I believe it's over 100 symphonies, if I'm not wrong, he wrote, and there are a good number of them very interesting. But the piano music in particular, okay, the thing you should think about mostly the technique. Your articulation is not solid, so you you need to play the piece very, very slowly. Remember one thing, that piano is not the keys. The keys produce a sound. So you have to think about the sound. If the sound is even, is controlled, and in order to do that, you have to listen to yourself. Everybody think playing slowly piano is like a gymnastic. Oh, so now your finger become, no. It's your ears that you can hear each sound much better if you're going slower. And I always suggest to my students, when you play, everybody wants to play fast. That when you are going slower, enjoy the sound. It seems everybody seems like go slower is a punishment. Go slower, boom, punishment. No, actually, it's a pleasure. You can hear every sound and enjoy it. Now you are on the right track, and you can now play faster, and the sounds are more in place, and everything is more beautiful. This is my suggestion.
These
Perfectly
are really
said.
helpful. Thank
Yeah.
you. Well said.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that any better.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Slow playing is opening the doors for discovery of a really treasure trove in the piece. That's a great suggestion. Thank you very
Thank you.
much for that. And this is a wonderful recommendation for the second tier of the auditions to make the improvements. Thank you, Lucia, for bringing the concerto in this live performance. This was great. We'll be moving on to the next performer in the 8 to 10 age category of these auditions. I'm reminding everyone that these are young musicians who apply for an opportunity to work together in the rehearsals and to perform a concerto on the stage of the Carnegie Weill Hall on November 21st with the New York Chamber Players Orchestra. And we have with us the music director and the conductor of the orchestra, Maestro Giacomo Franci, is one of our judges. And he's joined commenting and giving suggestions to musicians by a music director of the progressive musician, pianist and the conductor James Welch. So, and now the stage goes to Zikai Andy. Take it, the virtual stage is yours.
Bravo.
Okay. You want me to comment now? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can be first.
Yeah. I don't care. So Zikaya, I liked it. I liked your performance, and as a matter of fact, I'm conducting the same movement in October with my orchestra. So I hope this is good luck. Probably I'll conduct it again with you at Carnegie Weill. I found your structure, I mean, the way that you play the whole movement with a nice Mozart spirit. The suggestion I'm giving to you is Decadenza was a little bit less beautiful. It was a little more jumpy. So it's just practicing a bit slower and you will find it. Then other nuances, maybe those portamenti. We call it portamenti, like in Italy. Here in America, I've had some communication problem. Is the slur in between two notes, where the second one is a bit shorter and lighter. Maybe you can develop on that, make it even a little lighter with a little more nuances. But these are details. Very good. Keep on working on that. Bravo.
Yeah, bravo. I mean, it's a big piece to memorize and play in front of an audience, and kudos to you for that. I agree with Giacomo, and that just like those nuances, the portamenti or the slur or whatever we call it, but D up, B up, B up, B up, the whole spirit of it just needs that, and I think that out of the entire classical piano repertoire, that Mozart is the hardest. I wouldn't say to interpret, but to articulate. So if it's not articulated well, it sounds like it's interpreted poorly. But there's just a lot of finger work in Mozart that really needs to be nimble, light, and accurate, but yet still getting to the bottom of the keys and getting all that motion well. And I, over the years, I mean, it took me 30 years to realize that the secret to balancing this is not only having your fingers at the bottom of the keys, but being able to work a lot of the articulations just from your elbow going forward into the hand. I know it's tough to show on the live stream here, but and yet still keeping a loose arm, not and it is one of the most difficult balancing acts ever. And I don't think it was until a few years ago where I just kind of like discovered that with myself, thinking, oh my gosh, no wonder I've been struggling with Mozart my entire training and career. I mean, he's just a tough thing to play sometimes, but you have prepared it well. The only other thing that I would offer as a suggestion for my taste, I know we keep preaching slower. You should do your slow practice, but I like the tempo of this just a little bit faster. I think it just kind of, and I think that'll help too with the spirit of it. But work with your teacher on that. I mean, that's I'm really just nitpicking there.
Oh,
go ahead, Giacomo.
Yeah, I want to add something. So as end result, and actually, yes, there is another theory, like play it faster than what you will play in concert. There is also that. So which is kind of funny. So but yeah, the end result, it could be. I'm not a great fan of speed because often, I don't say always. There are often the big speed goes at detriment to clarity and variety of. But every one of us, we have our own conceptions. It's
Sure.
that's what makes it interesting. Okay.
Makes
Yeah,
it fun
that's
for all of us to have it different.
and it's also what makes it so enriching because my suggestion to young musicians always when you get comments from prominent established artists, keep in mind everyone has their own perspective. However, for you to enrich yourself from that perspective, you need to try it. You need to try it and see if that works well for you. You can't really theoretically agree or disagree. It has to be practical. So my suggestion to everyone who is watching here, work with your teacher, run all the comments by your teacher, see which your teacher feels are more appropriate for your stage of development. You're all young musicians here in this particular session, and then work with your teacher on how to try it out so that you can see the results you get from applying those suggestions. Now, if the judges are finished with the commenting for Zikai, we'll be moving on to the next. Are you done?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. We'll be welcoming on the virtual stage Kate Lee.
Hello, I am Kate Lee. Today I will play Polonaise Concerto in A minor.
Oh, bravo. What an exciting piece, an exciting performance. Now to the judges.
Bravo. Really well done. That's an exciting piece. I don't know it that well, but you've intrigued me. I have to learn it more because you make it fun enough that I want to learn it more. Congrats. I would just encourage you to go further with the development of the piece itself and the phrases and the dynamics and the shaping and all that. It's really some really big moments that we could make more out of, and then have some really, really nice, soft, intimate moments. You did it well. I just would like to hear a wider range of that. Technical maintenance. You've prepared this well again, so I'm just going to say, once you start running a piece over and over or trying to make improvements, just be sure that you always go back to the workbench or the tool shed, whatever you call it, and maybe just take out the metronome and work it back up from a slow tempo to the fast, just to ensure the finger memory and all that. That's the only danger I hear with a piece like this, where you just keep running it or you just keep trying to tweak it, and then you just kind of like lose the foundation a little bit. So just going forward, I would work to see what range you can broaden, and then just do some technical maintenance on it. Bravo.
Brava. Solid performance. So I have to say something. Okay. Sometimes the passages they were not completely clean, but I love. I'm quite honestly, I'm not very familiar with this concerto, but I can feel that you have a good range of dynamics. You have nice fire to it. Just keep on it. The only thing is a few passages here and there, but generally speaking, it's a great performance.
Thank you so much, judges, and thank you for praising this performer. And maintenance is always really important. It's so solid now, but it can go out of hand, and young musicians often forget how quickly it can go out of hand. We already experienced that, so it's a really great suggestion to
Every day.
make sure make sure the next day it's as good as it is today, and you're as much as in control of it. Wonderful. We will take a quick break to let the judges stretch a little bit and just have a moment to themselves. And during that break, I would like to introduce our audience to the upcoming events organized by Espressivo Virtual Concert Halls in collaboration with our partners. So these are auditions are happening right now. We're looking at the upcoming auditions, and the deadline to apply for those is November 1st. These are open auditions for soloists with orchestras to perform in the 2022-23 concert season and beyond. We're inviting pianists to apply with concertos, full concerto, or a movement of a concerto. We're inviting string instrumentalists, violinists, cellists, violists, bass players, guitarists. There's great concertos written for the guitars. There's several orchestras working in the call orchestra program together with us, and it's a collaboration of several organizations putting together our efforts and our sponsorship of these events. They will be produced and presented in collaboration with progressive musicians, with core productions, and with brilliant talent Discovery Awards. These are international companies which are putting together the auditions and the production of the concerts. The first upcoming concerts are already scheduled in February. There are 2 concerts with the Western New York Chamber Orchestra in Fredonia and Buffalo. That's really close to my favorite spot on this continent, the Niagara Falls. So if you happen to win the auditions and get invited as soloists to perform with the orchestra, you can combine that with a little vacation trip to see the incredible Niagara Falls. And now we'll play. I want to mention also we are inviting singers as well. There are a lot of repertoire for singers to perform with orchestra. There's a arias from operas and from cantatas. Keep in mind this is a chamber orchestra. It's expanded chamber orchestra, so there's a wider range of variety which you can present. If you're not sure whether your preferred selection to perform in those concerts will be accepted by the orchestra, get in touch with us before applying and get feedback from the Western New York Chamber Orchestra whether or not that piece is accepted for those concerts. There will be more orchestras joining this program. It's a call orchestra soloist auditions, and keep looking on the website, on Sound Espressivo website, on Progressive Musicians website. There will be more announcements of future dates with those orchestras for you to apply for during the 2022-23 and 23-24 concert seasons. And now a short video description of the call orchestra auditions.
Call Orchestra is hosting international auditions this fall 2022 for voice, strings, winds, and piano, for the chance to perform with a live professional orchestra. Our selected performers will be broadcast internationally performing concerti, arias, or songs. Submit your favorite videos of you performing today.
Yes, one more time. All instrumentalists, voice, and wind instruments, string instruments, piano, all keyboard instruments, and voice. So those are the categories of performers we are inviting to apply for the call orchestra auditions to be a soloist with the Western New York Chamber Orchestra. And more orchestras will be announced and more dates will be announced. And now I would like to also announce an award which was generously offered to participants of these auditions by iClassical Academy. iClassical Academy Recognition Awards for participants of these auditions. These awards are very valuable to all aspiring and growing musicians because iClassical Academy provides access to their very extensive library of master classes, courses, some specifically and particularly focused courses on technique of various instruments. Those are recorded in the highest quality with some of the most prominent artists of today. Please visit our Classical Academy website to see the incredible collection and library of those courses. And we want to thank very much the president of the company and the people who work at our Classical Academy for providing our Carnegie auditions project with these awards. The participants of these auditions will be receiving information about how they can claim their award and what it is. So expect more information on that coming up. I see that our judges were able to stretch a little bit and refresh a little bit. So we are ready to move on to the next age group of our Carnegie Gala Auditions, and that'll be the age group of 11 to 14. And I'm reminding everyone again, these are auditionees who applied to perform concerto with the New York Chamber Players Orchestra. And today we have as one of our judges joining us the music director and conductor of New York Chamber Players Orchestra, Maestro Giacomo Franci, and he's joined on the virtual stage and giving live comments to our auditionees by pianist and conductor James Welch, who is a director of progressive musicians and a co-organizer of these auditions. We are incredibly grateful to our judges, to everyone who works on organizing those auditions and opening up those opportunities for musicians in this concert season. So we will be welcoming on stage the first performer of this age group. Again, the age group is 11 to 14, and these are auditionees hoping to win an opportunity to perform at Carnegie Hall with the orchestra. We will be welcoming on virtual stage Annabelle Way. Bravo, bravo, bravo. What a wonderful performance of this concerto. We'll hear from Maestro Giacomo Franci first, and then we'll get more comments.
Yeah, yes, I can feel that you want to feel the music, and you're already feeling it. I can tell from your expression the way you. Now the problem is from feeling it yourself is going with the instrument. So there is a gap there between what you have in mind to do and what you are actually doing. That's why there is we never finish to learn. I'm going to be 58 soon, and I'm worrying if I'm not learning. I have to learn all the time. So when I discovered something, okay, yes, I have to do that. So you are 12, I don't, between 11 and 14. Hey, it's a lot to learn all the time. Brava, and I applaud your intent. Okay.
Yeah, bravo. I enjoyed listening to this. Yes, and this is another style that is just tough to grasp, but it was very enjoyable to hear you. I mean, that's I think that just with a lot of Vivaldi in general, there's always like a type A and a type B personality within each movement, and like and there could be different dynamic characters, dare I say, within each bit, and which I hate to say play in bits, because then we get stuck and we don't play the bigger phrase. But I think that within each phrase there could be just a wider range of colors and texture in there. You've already learned the piece really well, and you got a great you have a great collaboration going on there with your pianist as well. And so I think that together you can work well, and with your teacher as well, to just explore some new leaps and valleys, might I say, of the phrasing and just like where the whole piece is going. But I'm really just nitpicking at this point. Keep up the great work. I look forward to hearing you in the second tier.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you, judges, for giving some really constructive feedback and helping contestants grow. That's what the most long-lasting value of these auditions, to be able to hear the comments right there and then, right after your performance, and to be able to really feel what impact my performance made on other professionals. because that's that's going to feed back on your practicing and open some other points and some hopefully open some horizons for where you can grow. We're moving on to the next performer in this age group. We're in the 11 to 14 age group, and I'm reminding everyone who may be joining us just now on this broadcast, we're in the audition process of Carnegie Weill Hall Gala concert. We're auditioning candidates to be presented during this gala on November 21st at the Weill Carnegie Hall in New York City. Our next musician and next auditionee is Luisa Maria Cordes. The stage is all yours.
we seem to be experiencing a few technical difficulties. We're actually going to start that over in just a few minutes here. I mean, the fun of this whole broadcast itself, many people have submitted videos, but we're still doing a live stream itself where, we can have network and broadcast glitches. And that's just the fun of live performance sometimes, that especially on the internet, where we're just at the mercy of whatever network feed and speed that we have, and any glitches Google might have, or all of that. So it just happens. So I mean, if we stand by, we will start that over again, and we apologize for that. But it just reminds me of all of the sea of mess that I witness backstage when I'm usually doing a theatrical production, but sometimes at concert too. I mean, you have the stage techs, you have the crew, and you have just somebody panicking about something in the back, and then you're the performer trying to focus and get ready, and it's just a sea back there. It can be really comical, but the true magic of it is in the live performances that the audience doesn't usually see that. But I don't think that it's the worst thing in the world for everyone to know what goes on behind the scenes. I mean, we have all those behind the scenes. Well, we used to have DVD behind the scenes. Now with the digital world, that's kind of gone away. But but I mean, we still have those documentaries where it's like, you have the characters backstage and they play it up and all that. And I mean, but that's really what happens backstage sometimes. And backstage on our end, we actually have one guy doing all of this magic, changing all the feeds, playing all the videos, doing the sound, and he's just doing a fabulous job. We usually have 2 or 3, and it's sickness got the better of everyone. So one guy doing all of this, and he's doing a fabulous job here. And so it looks like he's ready to go again. So we're gonna give this another go, and welcome back, Louisa Marie.
Wonderful. I was so glad we were able to bring back that performance. Thank you, our backstage backhand magician Fedor Ouspensky, who is helping us with this all very technical and very complex production. Usually we have more producers, more engineers and directors on this broadcast, but our second engineer fell sick, so we are really appreciative of Fedor Ouspensky doing the job of two people. I don't know how many computers and screens, Fedor, you're working on. I am not even sure I want to know. So it's a good thing I can keep my fingers off all the controls, and we can just focus on the auditionees, on their pieces, and focus on giving them the most feedback, and all the screen magic just happens. Thank you again, our wonderful VCHS team, and our director today, Fedor Ouspensky. Bravo for fixing this little glitch with the video. Now to the judges.
Yeah, just a quick thing. I mean, I talked to Fedor, and I think, as far as how many screens are up there, it's my understanding we had to bring in a few from NASA to make this work today.
That's right.
So, I mean,
and a couple of from Elon Musk too.
yeah. 2 satellites and 10 screens, and yeah. So, but he's getting the job done beautifully. Okay, so bravo, Louisa Marie. It's so good to hear you again. Louisa Marie is one of our progressive musicians alum who has been in every single event of ours, and it's always a pleasure to hear you play and the improvements that you make constantly. Dramatic improvements, like every 6 months. It seems like there's a brand new musician in you, and it's just so wonderful to hear that as we get to know all of our musicians over the years, to just watch them develop into just such amazing greatness. So bravo. This is one of my favorite pieces to accompany on the violin, and there's so much passion and fire, and every time I coach it, like, I'm trying to get the violinist to release the fury and just play out and really capture that Tarantella style, which I feel that you did very well, and it really enjoyed it. I look forward to hearing you again in the second tier, and congratulations. Keep up the great work.
I want to add to the technical difficulties that this happen in major TV programs that sometimes you see. So, what the hell,
Exactly. What the heck?
I see. Well, it's okay. I mean, it happens. About Louisa Marie, James looked like it is more familiar with your progress, and I'm a little bit less familiar with that. But so I can see two things here. One, you are fire when you play, and in this piece by Wieniawski required that. So I applaud you about that. Oh, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Yeah, we're still working on some audio issues, but we're good.
No, because I'm not hearing myself.
Okay. We can hear you.
We can hear you. Yep.
Okay, fine.
Keep going.
Okay, keep going. Okay. So on the other hand, I'm orchestra conductor, so I'm a bit fixated with intonation. So the higher notes on the violin, it's a very difficult one. I'm always arguing with several players in my orchestra, say why this passage is not coming more in tune and this. So I have a particular ear for that. So I would suggest you to get more attention on the intonation, especially of the high notes there. Um, that's my suggestion. Okay.
Okay, and thank you very much. Thank you, judges, and thank you again, Fedor, for bringing this wonderful performance of the Tarantella to us in a completion. We were able to enjoy it, and thank you, judges, for commenting and complimenting. And we will be moving on to our next presenter, and the virtual stage is now presenting Luisa Valentina Shoei.
bravo, Louisa. Louisa is another one who's been in many of our competitions, and it's great to hear all the progress that you've been making too. I mean, a completely different musician every time as well. I mean, this is just so wonderful to hear so many people again come back completely transformed into new developing musicians. I mean, it's just wonderful. Congratulations on that. I love this concerto. It's one of my very favorites, and I appreciate that you did not romanticize it too much. I've heard it romanticized many times, and that's just not my style for this piece. So, thank you for that. Going forward, I would just go back and really look at the development section a little bit and make sure you have all the counting right and all that. There was some issues there with just coming in at the right time for some of the entrances and all that that just got you a little confused at times. But kudos for not having to stop either. You have a great pianist there who found you, and you were back on track within a few seconds. But just go back there and work those transitions and make sure that you have everything timed out well. Tuning a little bit to some intonation issues. You have a good ear, so you kind of slide into it, but I think I noticed it mostly in the cadenza where just your fingers weren't quite in the right place before playing, and I don't know violin as well as I know piano, but I know fingers, and it's just you have to. The pianists always say, make sure your fingers are over the keys before you press them, that you're not just landing there right at time. And I think the same goes for the tuning on the violin. It's just you have to be in the right spot. Although with the piano, sometimes I wish I could slide into the right spot. So, so just work on that going forward. The ending too, for my taste, I like it a little faster. I think Mendelssohn marked sempre presto in the coda, and then halfway through the coda, presto or molto presto, something like that. So try to work those up as well. So it should just be a fury of ending of coda. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm stuck in my words here, but the overall, from where I first heard you, magnificent. Keep up the great work. Is wonderful progress. Giacomo?
I liked your performance. I conducted this piece several times, so I'm not only very familiar with it, but also I'm very familiar with different soloists doing. I like to conduct with the soloist conception and then try, not always easy, to match with their point of view, and we don't want to argue. So, but okay. So your performance was quite solid. One thing is that overall, often, sorry to say often, but that's what I don't know what kind of violin you have. I'm sure it's not the Stradivari. The quality of sound, it sounds more like Schoenberg sometimes, the sound than Mendelssohn. So I'm just wondering. We know that now we are on the 21st century, so we have been through a lot here with Stravinsky, Berio, I mean, all kind of, and then we live in the contemporary time that is very different from the 19th century. And that's why we always talk about different kind of sound depending on what repertoire you are playing. The repertoire, the romantic repertoire, usually require, unless in few exceptions, a round sound, the so-called beautiful sound, like in opera we call bel canto, right? I mean the round sound. And in the violin, for example, I don't play violin, but I'm guessing that if you are also maybe relaxed here with your, it's probably coming in piano works like that. I'm pianist, so I know that if you, for example, in piano is if you get the sound too high, it gets usually beaten up. So you have always to be close to the keyboard, and then with the relaxed arm comes a beautiful sound also in the mezzo forte, forte, and fortissimo. In the violin, I unfortunately I don't. I mean, I like to take. I would like to play violin, but also for my conducting. But yeah, so the quality of sound, and so that also, like James was talking about, the intonation, it gets it kind of goes together then with that. But keep up the good work.
Okay. Thank you again. Yes. All right. So our next person, we have Matthew Brand playing, and it looks like he'll be presenting some of his own compositions too. So welcome to the virtual stage, Matthew.
Oh my goodness, what a joy to have Matthew Brand back joining these auditions. Matthew is a veteran alum from Sound Espressivo competition, and he has presented a number of his own fabulous, brilliant compositions, as well as classical repertoire. What a diverse musician. And Matthew, it's a great pleasure to hear your new composition and your growth as a pianist, as a performer, and as a composer. I'm just so happy to be your passionate follower. Now to the judges.
Bravo. Yes, I remember hearing you in the last Sound Espressivo competition, and you had presented some of your own works at the piano, and it's just great to hear all the wonderful music that you keep writing and performing. So it's, and I'm still serious. I want to buy some of that music, because I want to play it. But congratulations there. I noticed one thing in particular, and it's just the way that you're seated. You're kind of hanging off the back of the bench, which is kind of fun to do. But I think, if your feet are more planted and you're sitting more toward the center of the bench and up a little bit taller, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck, from your arm weight. You're not going to have to work as hard to do all of those quick chords, and you're going to get a wider range of dynamics out of there. I can hear the physical, dare I say, exertion that you're putting through to interpret all of those lines and get the range that you want, and it is working. But I think there'll be more clarity if your arms are a little bit freer, which will happen if you're seated a little bit better. Perhaps maybe an inch closer. But I think I think the main fix will be to just sit up taller and kind of be more in the center of the bench rather than off the back. But again, great to hear you. I'm looking forward to hearing your concerto audition in the second tier. And Giacomo.
Matthew, I remember you very well. I remember you from the last audition that you played Haydn Piano Concerto in D major. And then you started a cadenza sounding like late 20th century. It was great.
I remember that. Yes.
Yes, that was so refreshing and so fabulously composed. Yeah.
So you can get some of these serious professors from academies that would raise their eyebrow and say, "Oh, it's not in the style of Haydn." But actually, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the cadenza, completely different. I remember we were kind of bored with the traditional repertoire, and all of a sudden came this cadenza, and it was like, hey, this is great. I enjoy your composition. Also, in this case, I actually was wishing it maybe was longer to get more of your creativity.
Isn't that the best comment? The best compliment. We want more of you, Matthew. That's what you want to hear from everyone. Come back and give us more.
I didn't notice you are sitting. Yes, the good sitting at the piano is like half the way to the bench toward the piano. It's not like on the back like that. It's I agree with James. I mean, I'm not the only one agreeing with him. You get, if you sit a little further, you get more freedom in movement, and you have more weight. Otherwise, your weight is going in the bench because you are sitting in the back. But I think your piano playing is very, very good. Especially for your age. I mean, man, this is
11 to 14, exactly.
Yeah. I'm curious to know if you wrote a piano concerto, piano concerto, a piano and orchestra. I would be very interested in that. I don't know, Anna. You were saying that you wrote a piano concerto.
I'm not sure if
if
Matthew has already completed original piano concerto, but I know he composed a cadenza for the Haydn, and also he was performing back then the Haydn concerto, both the solo piano and the orchestral part himself. He incorporated both parts.
No, I remember. I remember. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. He did that too.
Exactly.
He was also playing. Yeah, that was very interesting. Yeah, very good. Yeah, now I remember. Yeah.
And even in some tutti, he added some jazzy and some dissonant chords in there. That was fabulous.
I loved it. Yeah, I mean, if he didn't write a piano concerto, I'm really encouraging him to do it. And we would be also interested with the chamber players orchestra to consider that. Anyway, yeah.
Matthew, that's a call for action.
Yeah,
I hope you're hearing this.
Yeah.
It sounds as close to me as a commission as it goes.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Bravo, Matthew. Great pleasure to have you with us again, and looking forward to your concerto second tier audition. And hey, get on with composing that concerto. Hold Maestro Giacomo Franci to his word. He will consider.
I didn't say that where we had to see how the composition is. I would be a very strict judge. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
absolutely. You need to be.
I'm just saying that I would really encourage him to do a work, since he's a pianist, he's a composer. Why not?
Yeah.
Piano and orchestra.
That's
piece.
the next step, and hopefully you're working with some composition professors and take it to your teachers and mull over the idea. Wonderful. This concludes our age group 11 to 14, and I would like to give our judges a moment of a little break so they can maybe get some coffee or whatever they need to do to feel fresh, and be back with us to give more comments to the next group. The next age group will be 15 to 18, and we have 5 auditionees in that group. I'm reminding everyone, these are auditions for the opportunity to perform at Weill Recital Hall of Carnegie Hall on November 21st. And this particular session is dedicated to musicians who applied for an opportunity to perform solo, to be soloist with a concerto, to perform with the New York Chamber Players Orchestra. We are in the second session of those auditions. We have one more group for this session, ages 15 to 18, and we'll have one more full session tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join us and watch those incredible musicians from around the world applying for an opportunity to shine on this well-known stage of the Carnegie Hall. And looking ahead, I would like to introduce the next auditions. The deadline for those auditions is coming up on November 1st. We are inviting soloists of all instruments and voice to apply for an opportunity to perform again with the orchestra. That's for concertos and arias in the concert season of 22-23, and we're also looking at more dates with orchestras during this season and for the 23-24 season. Don't miss your chance to and audition and be featured as a soloist with the orchestras around the world. The first dates confirmed with the Western New York Chamber Orchestra in February. Apply now so that you can go through the audition process and be selected. And now a short presentation about this upcoming audition.
Weill Orchestra is hosting international auditions this fall 2022 for voice, strings, winds, and piano for the chance to perform with a live professional orchestra. Our selected performers will be broadcast internationally performing concerti, arias, or songs. Submit your favorite videos of you performing today.
And I want to reiterate, these auditions are expanding the barriers and expanding the opportunity for musicians to be themselves, to present themselves on their own terms as their own artists. More standard approach is to require a particular repertoire for the audition, but for the first year of the call orchestra auditions, we're asking musicians to submit their favorite video where they feel the video represents themselves as an artist as a whole the best. Then for the second audition tier, if you're called back in, you will be asked to perform the concerto you intend to perform if you're selected, concertos and arias. I also would like to introduce an award which has been generously provided to the participants in these auditions by iClassical Academy. iClassical Academy is an educational company based in Switzerland and Italy. They provide a vast library of really treasures materials for growing musicians for all levels, professional master classes, courses focused on various aspects of performing music on stage, technical aspects of various instruments. iClassical Academy is sponsoring recognition awards for participants of the auditions, the Carnegie Hall Gala auditions. The details will be posted and sent out to the participants. But for now, please go on the website and see the tremendous collection of absolutely incredible masterclasses, video courses, and other materials specifically designed to help you grow, to complement and supplement your education wherever you're studying. It's an academically approached, curriculum-based, a vast collection of really important materials for musicians to be familiar with, coming from the artists of the biggest names and most accomplishment of our time. So thank you very much, iClassical Academy, for being our really dear partner of a long time. You've been supporting our auditions and competitions for 2 years now, and we are really grateful for this collaboration. Let me see the judges, if you please give me your thumbs up if you're ready for us to return. So before we do, I would like to also show a couple of comments which we received from our audience, and I would like to encourage our audience members to please comment, to share with us your feelings. Now, this comment is really, I would like to point out, that's a person watching us in Kamchatka. For those who don't know, that's the farthest eastern part of Russia. And I believe the time zone is maybe 24 hours ahead of us, or close to that. And we're very grateful for everyone who is watching, who's commenting, and welcome to our programs. If you like the style of our representations and our shows, please don't forget to subscribe, because that way next time we go live you will receive a notification. And if you're curious to see what else we have prepared, please do subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Now the judges are giving me signs that they're ready to jump into our last group of musicians, auditionees, for this session, and we'll be welcoming the first person in the age group 15 through 18. The virtual stage now presents Alexander Kirby. Welcome on stage.
Oh,
Wonderful,
I was
wonderful.
muted. It looks like we lost Giacomo here.
Yeah, we'll bring him back.
Yeah,
We
he'll
have,
be back. Yeah, yeah. No worries there. Bravo. Really nice, clear sound that you bring to this. This is, gosh, I haven't heard this concerto in so long. I can't remember. It's probably been close to 20 years. So thanks for bringing it back for me to hear, because I forgot how enjoyable it is. For my taste, I would just like to hear different character points, different dynamic ranges, with different registers and all that. I think you could explore that quite a bit more with just listening to other people play this piece and working with your teacher. You have a great collaboration going on with your pianist there, and I think that all of that could be worked out very easily in maybe one rehearsal. Just where you want to go with the whole leaps and valleys of the phrase shaping itself. You've learned this piece really well, and you've memorized it, and we just need to go further with it. I mean, I say this all the time. I probably I don't know, many more times than I can count on this broadcast now. But go further with it. Go further with it. Because what you're doing is great, but we just need to hear more of that and be a whole part of your world. There. I look forward to hearing you in the second tier. This is going to be wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, James, very much. I'm glad you pointed, and I can't agree more, pointed out the great collaboration between the cellist and the pianist, which is, I'm sure, a very important sign for any conductor to see that the soloist is really collaborating with a partner on stage. So this is really great, and it feels like it's very very organic for Alexander. So expanding on that, to me, would mean rely on what you already have, and just liberate yourself and let yourself be maybe take a bit more risk with what you're doing. Experiment with it. You don't have to take a risk on the important broadcast or important recording right away, but you can experiment in the lessons with your teacher and in the rehearsals with your pianist, and see how actually risky that taking risk is. It may not be, because you're really convincing to me as a pianist. I can really follow your intentions very well because you're so clear with your intentions. And we have Maestro Giacomo Franci back with us, and let's hear some more comments.
Yeah, I think your playing was. I'm just continuing with the comments of Anna. Your playing was very solid. The beautiful thing about music is that nobody can say that is the best of everybody, because there is always the other side of everything. So it's not a science; it's an art. So the very solid, but there was the dynamics. It was like all mezzo forte, forte, and the nuances of the phrasing. I would have need more of that, more of the elegance of the music that comes from variety of dynamics, the phrasing of it. Usually, at the end of the phrase, it gets lighter, and then new phrase. So it was a little bit, but you are playing it. You already keep up the good work. You're already playing solidly, and develop on that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, James,
you know
wanted
what?
to add
If I could
something.
just add really quick, I mean, we give all these comments about going further with the interpretation or doing specific things, and I was just thinking, when I do that kind of work myself, I tend to miss a lot of notes and screw up in the process of all that. And my advice to you for that would be, when you're exploring new ideas, don't be afraid of screwing up in the practice room or playing a wrong note or rhythm or just forgetting where you are. Sometimes when you do artistic planning or you're just working with great ideas, the whole physical aspect of it just starts to become foreign for a while. And that's just some of the temporary prices we pay for greatness, or we suffer for our art or whatever. But the memory and all that comes back, and if it doesn't, then you just open the score and look at the notes again for a little while. But we cannot push our limits without testing our limitations first. And part of that is screwing up. Nobody ever becomes a pro without screwing up.
Yeah, that's a very good suggestion. Don't be afraid. Here's the finished, polished piece, and of course the natural inclination is to preserve it because it's already ready, it's already polished, it's already really solid. But then to take it a step further, one needs to be courageous to let it become less finished, less of a finished product, so that it can grow out of the current box, the current frame.
And then I want to add one thing. There is plenty of performances with the top-notch orchestras where the soloists just play solidly. So, so they maybe then don't do anything. Just play solidly, all mezzo forte, and then you are perfect.
Well, there's merit to that too.
My mother, right? So
the best, in my opinion, is to combine both the best of the worlds.
Of course.
The way I approach that is I make the piece solid, then I kind of quote unquote destroy it by experimenting. Then I bring it back together, make it solid again, then destroy it again through experimenting, and through several stages of that process. And it goes along with playing it slow after running it in the faster tempo than I intend to perform. Of course, I'm going to mess it up. I usually bring this analogy to my students. Okay, when we run through, especially on stage, through the piece, it's a feast. It's a feast of our artistry. It's a feast of our emotions. It's a feast of sharing and giving. So what's a feast? Feast is a wonderful table filled with great dishes. And what do we do with that table? We eat it all. We make it dirty and messy. So what's the job after the feast? You got to clean up. So then after you clean up...
You must try the Boccherini.
So you got to clean out, you got to go back to the drawing board and incorporate all of that into more solid performance and then go for the next feast. We are ready, I believe, to move on to the next performer of the age group 15 to 18. And again, a reminder to our audience members, if you are joining us just now and you're not sure what this is about, these are live auditions for the Carnegie Weill Recital Hall performance, a gala concert on November 21st. And dozens of musicians applied for the limited number of slots available for people to be selected to perform in this gala. And this particular section of auditions is dedicated to people who applied to perform a concerto with New York Chamber Players Orchestra. And we have two judges giving comments live. We want to put the judges on the hot plate and hear what they have to say immediately after they hear the performance, because our music performance art lives in the moment. So we want their momentary comments. We have Maestro Giacomo Franci, music director and the conductor of the New York Chamber Players Orchestra. That's the orchestra which is going to be performing at the gala on November 21st. And we also have pianist and conductor James Welch, who is director of progressive musicians, and he is also a presenter of various concerts on prestigious stages and many competitions. So Moving on to the next person in this age group, the virtual stage now belongs to Audrey Lee. Welcome. Thank you very much, Joseph. This was Joseph Gallagher performing the Boccherini Concerto, and I gotta apologize. I made a mistake in the announcement, so I'm correcting myself. Joseph Gallagher. Thank you very much for presenting the Boccherini Concerto now to the judges.
Bravo! Yeah, that's. I mean, I get to hear the two movements from this wonderful concerto that I haven't heard in close to 20 years. So, thank you. It's great. You have it very well prepared and memorized. I would like to hear just much more character and life through each section, each register, each phrase shaping and all that, so that we could just you could just bring us into your life of musical greatness. And it takes a lot to explore through that. I mean, we were mentioning that in the previous movement with the previous performer, but it's kind of the same idea there, where don't be afraid to explore, don't be afraid to screw up while you're exploring, and then bring it back and share this wonderful world with us. This movement, I don't want to necessarily say that I would like to hear it faster, but it sounds a little weighted in the subdivision sometimes. Bum, 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 bum is what we get, and that's kind of the pulse and the general feeling that I got while listening to you. Like just the bits of the pulse rather than as opposed to it wasn't that bad, but I'm exaggerating. But I think just a little bit more lilt in the bigger pulse would help. Now, I'm gonna say something a little wild, that we're always talking about slow practice. I think actually what might benefit your practice is fast practice with the metronome. Now, it's not necessarily technical practice, but I mean, it can be in a way. But put the metronome on fast and try to chop through it, and I think that'll help give you a better perspective of how the notes and the phrases connect a little bit better. That when you slow it down, you'll have that ingrained into you, and then you can go back and work the technique on how you want to shape and connect the phrases. I think it's just it's a wild idea, but it's always worked for me, especially playing the piano. My instrument's tempered. I can't connect one note to the next very easily. With a bow or with air, you have a little bit more advantage. But I think that would just help in your case. You've prepared it very well, and I look forward to hearing you in the second tier. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, bravo, Joseph. Yes. I'm agreeing with James with the phrasing. There was not much phrasing. I think that even listening more to the accompanist there, that would benefit a lot, because I think the pianist, he was doing the phrasing. He was doing those staccati at the end. If you just a little less busy with this and having the ear open and listen to the pianist more, just do more of that, then the phrasing comes already there. It's already there. Particular with your cello playing, the classical period where Boccherini was, it's gentle. There are more lighter sound. Your sound, it's a bit not round, kind of stick to that string a little hard, so do more of that cesello, we say in Italian, like doing it like you would do a vase, right? That is round. I mean, I don't do that. I'm just thinking different, more beauty related to lighter sound, which is James think that it should come from play it faster. Sorry, James, I'm not particularly.
That's okay.
I don't know if that movement is in allegretto or is in allegro. Do you know?
Not offhand, no.
So we would have to see if it is an allegretto. I think the motion was fine, and work on the lighter sound. If it's an allegro, then you are right. Instead of four, it become like in two. Yes. Anyway, this is all. But keep up the good work. You are performance, like, yes, the memorization, and it was quite solid. Yeah, bravo.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Joseph, for bringing this concerto. It's a great choice of the piece for performing with the chamber orchestra. And thank you, judges, for the helpful comments. And what I really would like to point out as a extremely helpful when you get in touch with the musicians who are commenting immediately. We as musicians look, of course, for what can be improved, what can be the next stage, the next embellishment to our playing. What I would like to really thank our judges for pointing out what can be worked on, but also not only, but also how it can be approached. And of course, please take all of those comments to your teachers and run by them and see how to handle those suggestions, and especially appropriately for your development stage. We are moving on to the next musician on this group 15 to 18. These are musicians who are applying to perform concerti with the New York Chamber Players Orchestra. The virtual stage is presenting Marcela Gagna. What a joy. What a wonderful piece of music. I love it. So funny and jazzy. Okay, to the judges.
Yeah, bravo. I mean, that piece had a little bit of everything in it, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I have to admit, I've never heard it before. So thank you for introducing that to me. And, bravo to the Alexa Orchestra.
The Alexa Orchestra! Yay!
Playing with a track is difficult.
Oh my
And
gosh, it is.
It's... entrances get weird and all that because you never know if the orchestra on the track is like exactly in time or not, or
we
if
just
it's
gotta-
you. And
We just got a comment from Fedor, our engineer and director of the show. It is a Sibelius orchestra. It's
okay,
a correction,
Okay.
meaning the Sibelius software.
okay, but played in Alexa.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, all right. In collaboration with Alexa and Sibelius, we have the track. Okay. So companies work together all the time, just like Sound Espressivo and progressive musicians. Okay. Getting back to the piece. Really nice. I only have a couple of things to say about it, and that is, in general, it seems like a lot of the finger and chord work that you're doing are coming more from up here rather than just like your full arms and your elbows and all that. Like all those big chords, bum, bee, boom, like just kind of like stop. Like, and maybe a little pedal will help as well. But like just more elasticity in the arms and having everything kind of come from the elbow so that your fingers can go in a little bit more, but not so much as I hit my mic, but not so much just but it's so hard to show you there, but I think that's like the biggest thing that would help, and it would actually help in some of the scalar passages to like one rounded motion. I had a teacher that I was working with just a few years back, Mark Westcott. He would always say, work out your choreography with your, and that meant like with your arms, like make sure that it's just moving, and that's going to keep everything else going. But I think if you could just get a little bit of that freed up and flexing, it is going to be a really neat performance of this. So I look forward to hearing you in the second tier. Keep up the great work.
Brava! I really enjoyed your playing. I'm not familiar with this piano concerto. I was wondering if it's 20th century music. You guys know Anna?
Yeah, contemporary.
Yeah. So then you are playing is even better, because I think that you found the chords, they were like, and often, for example, if I'm thinking about a composer of the 20th century, was my first recording that I've done. His name is Alfredo Casella. So Alfredo Casella is like a version of Stravinsky, but more eclectic, kind of more crazy, I would say. And the sound that it's not required to be a Chopin sound at all. So it's more neurotic. I would call it post-Freud, post-Schoenberg, all the neuroses that come with the beginning of the 20th century, and the analysis of that reflects in the music, reflects everywhere, reflects in the cubism of Picasso and Braque, all this cultural period. So also in this concert, and I don't have much criticism about it. I liked it, and I think that you have been very smart because you choose a repertoire that reflects, is close to your way of being, and bravissima, actually.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much, Marcella, for bringing this new piece, for sparking the discussion about the cultural periods and what they mean in how they are represented and expressed in music. And thank you, judges, very much for your commenting. We will be transitioning to our last auditionee of this session. And I'm reminding again, this is ages 15 to 18, and we're auditioning candidates to perform concerti at the Carnegie Weill Recital Hall Gala on November 21st with the New York Chamber Players Orchestra. Welcome on the virtual stage, Victoria Tan. what a glorious performance of this piece, which we all heard a million times, but I really loved, was glued to this performance. To the judges now.
Bravo. Really nice. I mean, this is really my favorite violin concerto of all times. It's really, you bring so much life to it, and I never get bored hearing this concerto. The entire thing, really. But yes, thank you for your performance. It's very well prepared. The only thing that I might explore is just, again, I keep saying this to everybody, but just how much contrast can you make between sections? I hear hints of really good artistic thought, but how much further can you take it? Can you expand the leaps and valleys of your phrasing, different colors in different sections? And I mean, I'm really just nitpicking because I thought it was pretty good, but I would just like to hear more contrast of that. Dare to screw up in your practice session and see how far you can go, and then don't go too far in the end, but again, push the limitations and see what happens. And then of course always do what your teacher tells you to in the end, but see what creative avenues you might be able to take or even create. I enjoyed it. I look forward to hearing you in the second tier. Giacomo.
Fabulous performance. I loved it. I am very familiar with the piece. I conducted several times. I didn't hear the slightest intonation problem. Technical level very high. And yes, I'm continuing from James. The only thing I was waiting the ending more fire with that ending. Like, don't care about anything anymore. Go all way through. I know it's not easy to do it, because you say, I've done so well until now. I don't want to screw up at the end. But sometimes if you risk a little more, you also get more reward. Sometimes it's like saying, I'm doing this. I am doing it. That's it. I'm doing it. That's it. Bravissimo.
I had one more thing to offer for this. And, sometimes when, being creative and creating new avenues, it's maybe good to explore what the piece might sound like on a different instrument. I mean, YouTube is like a goldmine for uniquely creative things. Even like stuff that doesn't come off that well. Like somebody just had a new idea and presented it, and it's like, well, I never thought of it that way. And the only reason I bring this up, I'm remembering just now when I was in my master's studies, one of my friends came up to me. He's like, I'd really like you to accompany me on my master's recital. I'm playing the Mendelssohn. And I looked at him and I was like, but you're a percussionist. And what Mendelssohn? Oh, I'm going to do the third movement of the violin concerto on marimba.
Wow.
And I laughed, but he just said to me, it actually sounds quite neat. And I mean, we had to go a little under tempo because all those scales on the marimba and all that. But I mean, it sounded like Mendelssohn Goes to the Circus. But I enjoyed it, and it made me think, well, what other life and avenue could be brought to this piece if it were a different instrument? Or what might a violinist take from this performance and bring back to it? So just something to encourage, because I mean, you played so well that it's like I just want to offer you something to explore through the next level of your studies, and yeah, be creative, have fun.
Wonderful recommendation. Exactly. This is that auditory experience which we all take in from every performer, and that's I'm with you on that, James. And I've found that it's extremely enriching to hear staple piano repertoire played on a different instrument. For us, it's always the singers who enrich our auditory experience most, but the bow instrument players and the wind instruments, because as a pianist we always strive to overcome the percussion side of it. But percussion for the singers, percussion for the bow string instruments, that's a very different aspect and a very interesting exploration. Good luck with that, Victoria Tan. This was wonderful, and I would like to echo Maestro Giacomo Franci's bravissima. That's absolutely the right word. That was an extraordinary performance. This was the last performer of the age group 15-18, and we have one more musician to conclude our program from collegiate division. These are college students, again applying to perform concerti with the New York Chamber Players Orchestra at the Gala on November 21st in the Carnegie Weill Hall in New York City. We'll be welcoming on the virtual stage Angelica Salazar. That's a very interesting piece. Thank you for bringing this unusual repertoire, introducing us to that, to the judges now.
Bravo! I've never heard this piece. So thank you for introducing it to me and to all of us here. I understand that it's the Chinese written piece, two composers, and written in Western style, but with Chinese violin techniques, and one of the most famous Chinese orchestral works, which so I need to learn more about this piece, really, but very beautiful. I remember hearing you play on one of our master classes about a year or so ago, and just the improvement that from then to now has been enormous, and it's so wonderful to hear that you've been working really hard. So keep up the great work there. Congratulations on that. One thing that I noticed, maybe for my taste, is that I think the tone in the melody could have had some lighter moments. I don't know the piece as well as you do, but it just seemed like everything was loud or heavy at times. Like there was just no release in phrases or texture changes throughout the sections. And I think it could just use a little bit more coloring in that way. And then you'll have a great piece. You've done some tremendous work preparing this. So I would look forward to hearing what else you could do with that. But keep up the great work.
Yeah, I'm as well not familiar with the piece. I can hear that these are all harmonies from l'Oriente, we say in Italian, like from China or Korea or Japan. Anyway, your your performance is quite solid, and the only thing I'm going to follow with the comment of James is the sound. I was maybe more gentle, lighter, so in order to complement these beautiful melodies. So also when the sound is a little bit more beaten, it's more difficult to do a nice legato. I don't know what instrument, the kind of instrument that you have, if it's a great violin or not. And beside that, another phase that I don't know if I saw you well in the video. You didn't look Asian to me. So the strange thing is that we get Asian people that play European repertoire, then we get people that are not Asian and they play the Asian repertoire. That's very interesting.
That's quite neat.
So yeah, it's like, so it's this world is. I just stopped by saying this world is very interesting. That's but anyway, congratulations. Keep up the good work. Keep on studying on the quality of sound. We all are at every instrument improving the quality of sound, which is an element that is more attractive to the general public than to the professional. Sometimes I talk to professional musicians and say, quality of sound, yeah, okay, fine. No, but the people that pay tickets, they like good sound. They like beautiful sound. So therefore, let's think about that. Okay, brava.
Thank you very much. Thank you for comments, and thank you for bringing this a very unusual piece. And I hope the comments are really helpful to you, Angelica, and you have had some moments of absolutely gorgeous sound. And here's a wonderful comment from one of our viewers. Thank you for tuning in, watching, and sharing your impressions of the beautiful music being presented in this program and our work. This concludes our second session of the Carnegie Hall Gala auditions. Again, I'm reminding everyone we're auditioning artists from around the world who are candidates for time on stage at the Gala at the Carnegie Hall on November 21st. And this was a tremendous pleasure to work with two distinguished judges, Maestro Giacomo Franci, music director and the conductor of the New York Chamber Players Orchestra. The orchestra will be performing Concerti on stage at the Carnegie Hall on November 21st with selected soloists. And our second judge was pianist and conductor James Welch and music director of the Progressive Musicians. Our collaborator, the company which is together with the Sound Espressivo and Virtual Concert Halls, organizing those auditions and the Gala concert on November 21st. So if you're in New York on November 21st, that's a Thanksgiving week. Combine your exploration of this great city with coming to Carnegie Hall at 8 p.m. and be part of this wonderful celebration. The Gala is designed to showcase musicians from all walks, different instruments, different styles, different ages, different ensembles. There will be large ensembles, small ensembles, soloists, soloists with the orchestra. It will be a feast of music making. And I want to thank very much our supporters and our collaborators. Thank you, our Classical Academy, for providing recognition awards to participants of these auditions and inviting them to benefit from access to your vast library of the greatest master courses from some of the most established and most incredible musicians of our time. And now thank you to our audience, for everyone who is tuning in and sharing your comments with us. Please do so. It's very important for musicians to feel welcome, to feel part of the audience, to make this really vast world more connected, more together in this music making and this exploration of beauty and art. And last but not least, thank you very much to the wonderful Virtual Concert Halls team. Our today's director was Fedor Ouspensky. By his magic fingers and hands and by his quick mind and tremendous experience with technology, we are able to bring this varied program in a smooth transitions to you all in real time. This was a live presentation of the second session of Carnegie Hall Gala auditions, and we'll see you again tonight. We'll be back with more musicians, with more soloists, more voice auditionees, large ensembles, small ensembles, and we're looking forward to seeing you again tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great lunch break and see you later. Bye.